Muy bien. Vale. Sí, tranquilo, ya. Sí, sí. Vale. Ya está. Muy bien. Vale, gracias. Pues sí. Sí, sí. Como haya fútbol, de verdad.
luego si el agua está llena de adentro, si quieres te lo pongo.
Pues nada, oye, muy buenas tardes a todos, amigas y amigos. Es un verdadero placer recibirles de nuevo en la Fundación Rafael del Pino, en este encuentro promovido por la red de alumni de IMD y en colaboración con el Spanish Leadership Network. Ha surgido de una serie de programas de la Fundación y que nos permite poder reunir periódicamente pues, a un grupo de dirigentes españoles que han participado activamente en alguno de nuestros programas para intentar profundizar en temas centrales que se encuentran en el centro del debate público, ¿no? La verdad es que hace unos segundos estábamos comentando, le hemos regalado para el agradecimiento por su visita a Román Orús, un libro que acabamos de editar. Y estábamos comentando cómo cuando pensamos en esos momentos de profunda transformación, ¿no? Como el que vimos, es un libro referido a un poco a la historia del Imperio Español y todos estos elementos, la época de los descubrimientos, ¿no? Entonces, claro, cuando analizábamos con el profesor Fernández Armesto y Manuel Lucena esta época, pues hablábamos de que es una época en la que de pronto estamos enfrentados a los prodigios de la técnica, ¿no? A una profunda transformación social, al asombro ante las grandes empresas de exploración. Cogemos estos tres elementos y decimos, pues estamos quizás en un momento parecido, ¿no? Pero quizás la gran diferencia con aquellos momentos en los que se ha producido ese cambio profundo, la gran diferencia es quizás el carácter exponencial de la transformación que estamos viviendo, ¿no? Y claro, hoy vamos a hablar de computación cuántica, ¿no? Ya estábamos sorprendidos por la rapidez con la que se ha producido la implantación de multitud de avances en materia de inteligencia artificial y quizás hoy vamos a ver cómo realmente ese carácter exponencial puede multiplicarse aún más todavía con cuestiones vinculadas a los temas que vamos a tratar, ¿no? Entonces, no me quiero extender, simplemente esta pequeña referencia, ¿no? A que realmente afortunadamente en la humanidad no paramos de avanzar y no debemos de ser temerosos porque todos aquellos avances que se han producido en la historia nos llevaron a un lugar mejor y por tanto estamos seguros, somos optimistas en esta fundación sobre ese lugar mejor al que nos va a llevar también la tecnología. Por eso simplemente dos palabras para señalar el agradecimiento y la satisfacción de la fundación. Satisfacción porque con encuentros como el de hoy, en el que nos encontramos, la red de alumni de IMD, el Spanish Leadership Network, aquí y también online, mayoritariamente online hoy, porque la verdad es que ha sido una heroicidad estar aquí hoy, después de la tromba que ha caído y del colapso que se ha producido en los accesos a Madrid. Por eso, como digo, la satisfacción por este encuentro y por haber cumplido uno de los objetivos de la Fundación, que nosotros que contribuir a formar a los dirigentes españoles y promover la difusión del conocimiento, como estoy seguro que iba a ocurrir, ¿no? Y el agradecimiento, que no puede ser de otra forma, ¿no? Agradecimiento a nuestro invitado de hoy, Román Orús, ¿no? No voy a entrar en una presentación porque Fernando a continuación entrará a fondo y Gonzalo en la misma, pero sí que queremos agradecer a Román Orús que esté con nosotros. Es un verdadero privilegio tenerle con nosotros para profundizar en un aspecto que él conoce también desde esa plataforma que tiene como cofundador y CSO de Multiverse Computing, ¿no? Entonces, en ese sentido, muchísimas gracias, Román, por acompañarnos. Gracias, cómo no, a nuestros compañeros de viaje, a Fernando Valdellú y a Gonzalo de Cárdenas, y a toda la red de alumni de IMD. Gracias a las personas que nos acompañan del Spanish Leadership Network, también tanto aquí como por vía online. Simplemente dejo en vuestras manos el testigo de la moderación y concluyo simplemente señalando que realmente esperamos que lo que he dicho al principio, que todos estos avances de los que vamos a hablar realmente nos permitan llegar a un lugar mejor. Muchísimas gracias.
Muchísimas gracias, Vicente. I am going to switch to English because this event is just streaming. It's being streamed also to all the IMD alumni globally. So we know that there are colleagues in different continents just attending this presentation. For all the people online, just for you to know that we are having heavy rain today in Madrid, and this is the reason because we have been running late for a few minutes. I would like just to say a few words. As Vicente was saying, this is an event that we have prepared with, we like very much to have Román with us. And we collaborate with the Fundación Rafael del Pino and his network, their network, and also this has been offered to other business schools in our country, that we are all part of the Rider Club of Spain, which are other alumni clubs like the one in the MIT, Stanford, Oxford, and other universities for their business schools. So having said that, for all the people that doesn't know IMD, IMD is a top business school in Switzerland based in Lausanne. It has also a campus in Singapore, and it has been at the top of the teaching for executives in corporate education and in open programs in particular. The faculties of our school is outstanding. They do not only teaching, but also they do a lot of research. I would like also now to pass on to my colleague Gonzalo de Cadenas, who brought the idea of having this conversation with Román, and he will tell you a bit about Román's impressive curriculum. Gonzalo, please.
All right. Okay. So I'm delighted to have here with us Román Orús. Román Orús is either vice professor of, I don't know if it's quantum physics or just physics plainly, in Donosti, San Sebastián. He holds his PhD from the University of Barcelona since the year 2006 and has been a professor researcher in this topic in numerous countries, in Germany, Australia, the Max Planck Institute in Germany, France. But Román Orús is also CEO, it's co-founder and scientific director of Multiverse Computing, which is what legitimates today us to have him here, since he's one of the top voices in the industry and what has to do and relates not only from the scientific side, but also from the demand side, from the commercial side, and what the industry seems to be needing. He understands and represents it very well in the spectrum of services and ideas that the company he represents is deploying. Román Orús is not only works as a member of Multiverse Computer, not only is a partner at Multiverse Computer, he has an extended academic career, producing over 100 articles, overly cited close to 8,000 times, and holds several awards in physics, which I cannot name because it's not my specialty, but I will have to look at the document. I think the quality of the speech and the ideas it's going to convey are going to explain the interest by itself, so I'm just going to give the word to him, and please, Román.
Well, okay, let's see. I think the microphone is working, right? Good. Okay, thanks a lot for this invitation. I'm really honored to be here with you today in this foundation. I had been, I think, here before, but not exactly in this building, and I'm obviously delighted to be here today to tell you about this topic that I was suggested to talk about. No? That they told me, hey, Román, why don't you come and tell us about the implications of quantum computation for industry? Because, you know, quantum computing is a new type of technology. We are hearing nowadays a lot about AI, okay? In the previous days, we even heard a lot about blockchain and so on. And then there is something else that is called quantum that apparently is showing up in the news. We don't know exactly what it is, but the scientists say that this is going to be extremely relevant. Okay, so today I'm here to explain you what this is all about. Okay, and how this is going to affect, in particular, the world of industry. Okay, it's actually affecting it already. Okay, quantum computers are already here. These are some machines, as I will explain you now. They are extremely powerful. And how this is going to transform essentially society as we know, and in particular all the different industry sectors that we know. Okay, so let me start just by explaining you how all this is moving forward. You know, quantum computing is a field that has been there already for quite a few years. Okay, it's not something new. Okay, it's something that actually started around the 1980s. Right, it's more than 40 years old already. And physicists, including myself, have been working for many years on actually, you know, understanding what is the theory, what is this thing called a quantum computer, what could it be used for, and so on and so forth. Now, many years ago, we thought that, okay, this is going to be interesting, but it's going to be something that is going to hit the market and society in a very, very long time, okay, maybe in 200 years or something like that. Now, surprise, turns out that nowadays we already have these machines, okay? I always tend to say that the future happens faster than whatever you can expect, okay? And it turns out that technologically speaking, 10 or 15 years ago, there were some advances, okay, in technology that allowed for these first prototypes of these machines to jump from just the laboratories of universities to actual industry, okay? And then there were a lot of investments from private companies, okay? Here we have people such as Google, such as Microsoft, IBM, the Chinese also, Alibaba, and so on. But also geopolitical regions, Europe, the US, China as well. They are all investing a lot in this type of technology for good reasons, as I will explain you now, because it's something that is, you know, is geostrategic, okay? Is geostrategic. So the regions that are you know, advanced in quantum technology are going to have an advantage, and the same goes for industry. Those companies that are inside of, you know, they have a quantum program and they are able to incorporate this technology in their daily life, okay, they are going to have a competitive advantage with respect to the ones that do not, okay? Very good. Now, we are talking a lot about investments. These are the public investments worldwide as of 2020, okay? So this is already outdated, but as you can see that the global investment around 2020 from public institutions without considering China, okay, was around $21 billion, okay? This is a lot. This is a lot, and in particular here in Europe, we had very strong investments. For instance, there was a very strong investment from the United Kingdom, 1 billion, also from France. France is investing very heavily, okay, public money into quantum computers, more than, I think it's 1.4 or 1.6 billion euros. Germany as well with 1.7, almost 2 billion euros, and also the region of Bavaria is actually investing even more, and so on. Here in Spain, we are starting to have the first investments. They are small, but there's a plan to actually increase them, and so on. So you can see that there is a global effort, okay, in quantum technologies. This is something that, for instance, didn't happen with blockchain. You didn't see the European Union investing billions of euros on cryptocurrencies, right? But you see it investing in quantum technologies. This is because quantum is going to be a technology that is going to be transformative, okay? It's something that is happening already, okay? It's completely horizontal. It affects all the layers of society and of industry. And the point is that this revolution is actually happening, and we are not even noticing, okay? But it's going to be changing our daily life a lot. So let me explain you very briefly what is this idea of quantum computing. What is it that we are talking about here? Okay, why is this so special? All right. So quantum computing is actually an idea that dates back to more or less the 80s. Okay, and the idea is that the physicists around 1980s or so, they realized that, you know, they were understanding quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics is the physical theory of the things that are very small, for instance, the atoms, the molecules, okay, the light, okay? This has to be described with a physical theory that is not the one that we use for everyday life, okay? It's something that is only valid for the world of the very small, the atoms, okay? That's quantum mechanics. That was developed in the 1900s already, 1930s, but around the 1980s, they realized that they could actually pick up an atom, for instance, and codify information in the atom, okay? In the same way that we codify information, you know, using bits and so on in classical computing, they realized that they could use different what we call quantum states of an atom to actually codify information inside of the atom and manipulate it using the laws of the atom, okay, which is quantum mechanics. So what is quantum computing? Well, quantum computing is nothing more, nothing less, that using the laws of quantum mechanics and quantum physics to store and process information on quantum systems. This could be atoms or this could be molecules, okay? And then build a processor with many atoms and many qubits that is processing the information in this way. Now, they immediately realized that if we are able to do this, we have a completely new model of computation. It's a computer that is not like the one that I have on my iPhone, okay, or the one that is running these slides. It's a completely different type of computer from the substrate, because it's processing information in a completely different way. And it allows to do calculations that are otherwise impossible. You know, mathematicians and physicists immediately realize that you have this machine and you can process information in this way. It turns out that this machine can do things that a normal computer cannot do. And cannot do because there are theorems proving that it's impossible to do, okay? But however, with this machine, you could do that, all right? What could you do? Well, many different things, okay? This is, Feynman actually was the first one that realized this. Feynman was a very famous physicist, okay? He got the Nobel Prize for, something different to quantum computing. But he had this he was extremely good at intuition. I don't know if you have seen the movie Oppenheimer, okay? So those of you that have seen Oppenheimer, Feynman was the one that playing the bongos all the time. So he was this young guy that didn't want to put the glasses when the bomb exploded and so on. That was Feynman, okay? And then he realized that, nature is quantum mechanical, obviously, no? So if we have a piece of matter, water, I don't know, any material, or a molecule, this is obviously quantum mechanical, right? We need quantum mechanics to describe this. And obviously, if we want to simulate it, we better use something that is also a quantum mechanical system. If we use a classical computer that is not quantum, we are going to have problems, okay? That's exactly what happens. Feynman was the first to realize this. If you want to simulate something that is quantum, you need something else that is obeying the same laws, because otherwise there is going to be a huge overhead, okay? That was how everything started with quantum computing, okay? That was the main idea. Now, why is this technology so powerful? Well, here is an example. This is a very simple example, okay? Just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about here. Imagine that you want to decompose a number into prime numbers, what is called the prime decomposition or factorization, okay? It's very simple. For instance, 15 can be decomposed as 5 times 3. This is very easy, and everybody knows how to do that, no? Now, the problem is that if I give you a number with 600 digits, or 617, turns out that this problem is extremely, extremely difficult to find this decomposition, right? This is called the factorization problem, and the problem is so hard that this is used in cryptography nowadays. In cryptography, we use mathematical problems that are easy in one direction and difficult on the other, right? This is like here, no? Multiplying is very easy, factoring is very difficult, and that's the reason why this is useful for cryptography, because encoding is very easy and decoding is very difficult, okay? What happens when you have this number? This is actually used in cybersecurity nowadays. There are some protocols that are based on this. There is one that is called RSA, for instance. Well, if you have a number with 617 digits and you try to factor with the best classical algorithm that you could imagine on a classical computer, by classical I mean an everyday computer, you do the calculation, how long will it take, and it will take around 317 trillion years. Trillions of years. This is much, much longer than the age of the universe, okay? So I think you will have to sit down and really wait a long time until the computer gives you the solution, okay? What happens that, well, if you have a quantum computer, turns out that you can do it in 8 hours, okay? There is this person, Peter Shor, who I'm just showing the picture here. He was a professor at Bell Labs in 1998, and he realized that if you have a quantum computer, which is a machine that is obeying the laws of quantum physics to process information, you can actually factor this number, okay, with what they realized exponential efficiency, okay? He developed a quantum factoring algorithm that is able to solve this problem efficiently in a time that is reasonable, right? And in particular, for these type of numbers that are used in keys that we are using nowadays in cybersecurity and in cryptography, we thought they were secure because we cannot factor them with a classical computer, but as soon as there is a quantum computer, they are all compromised. Okay, we are going to be able to read your neighbor's email and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, why is this important? This is important because several reasons. First, obviously, you see here that yes, well, this is an example of something that we can do with a quantum computer that it's not possible to do with a classical computer. So obviously, this model of computation is much more powerful, right, than the traditional one. Now, but this is telling you something else, okay? This is telling you that the first real-life application that we are finding here is that we are going to be able to hack all the cybersecurity of the world, okay? So immediately, you know, this, when politicians realize about this, they realize that there is a geostrategical, let's say, interest in building this machine. So whoever is able to build the first quantum computer that is able to do this is going to have an advantage with respect to the rest of the regions. Imagine that China gets a computer that can do this, okay? They are going to be able to decipher the rest of the cryptography of the world, and nobody will realize, and they will be reading everybody's emails and messages, and security is over, okay? So when this happened, politicians started to realize that this is not just a lab experiment. This has important implications, okay? It's like the Manhattan Project. So the Manhattan Project was the project that developed the atomic bomb, and that was also geostrategical. Obviously, it changes everything. This is the new Manhattan Project. I mean, we were just mentioning before that Hillary Clinton, when she was running for, you know, be the candidate of the Democrats years ago in the US, she wanted to, you know, give a lot of support to quantum computing because she said that this is the new Manhattan Project. I mean, the first country that gets a quantum computer that is able to do this is obviously going to win all the wars, right? Because this machine is so powerful that computationally nobody will be able to compete with that. This is why, in particular, quantum is important. It's also important because of many other reasons that I will explain afterwards, but this is to give you a glimpse of how deep are the implications of a quantum computer, okay? This can change all society from bottom to top. This is a little bit of the timeline of quantum computing. As I was saying, this started more or less around the 80s. The Americans said that Feynman was the first to make the observation that you need a quantum computer to simulate nature. The Russians always say that there is a Russian before an American that also said that, could be, okay? Yuri Manin and so on. But around the 90s, the first quantum computing algorithms started to appear, in particular this algorithm for factorization, okay? That was very important. In the 2000s, look, that's not so far away, eh? 2000s, we started to have control of the first quantum systems on a lab, okay? Around 2010, 2015, this system started to be larger and larger. And around 2015, 2020, there was a boom. Suddenly, there was a lot of technological development, okay? And suddenly, these first machines started to be bigger. We started to have more control over them, okay? And suddenly, we started to be able to do something that was actually useful, okay? They jumped from just being an experiment at a university to be something that could be important for industry, okay? And this is the time at which, you know, there were many companies that were jumping into this, no? IBM, for instance, Google, Alibaba, Fujitsu, all these very big technological companies, they all started to put a lot of money and put a lot of effort in their labs to actually build a quantum computer. So that happened in the 2050s and so on, and what is happening now? Because nowadays, you know, there is all this talk about quantum computing. Well, actually, this is exploding now because of two reasons, okay? Because of two reasons. The first one is something that probably you are familiar with. You have heard about ChatGPT, right? Probably you have used that also. You have been talking to the computer. You have been, you know, I don't know, getting summaries of news or whatever, no? This new AI that we are using nowadays is very impressive, okay? ChatGPT is very impressive. It works reasonably well. You can do many things with it, and it's definitely very useful, okay? Now, the problem is that the energy consumption of AI is growing exponentially fast in time, okay? You know, ChatGPT-4, which is the last version of ChatGPT that was produced by OpenAI, that is a system that was trained with all the text in internet, okay, and even video and other stuff. Now, doing that was 100 million of cost in electricity bill for OpenAI, okay? That was the company running ChatGPT. 100 million in electricity bill just to train the system, okay? Now, who can spend that money, okay? And then also, the expectation is that this amount of money is actually multiplied by 2 every 10 years, okay? So, you know, if we keep growing and growing the computational cost of AI, we can just not use it, okay? In combination with the fact that there is also a more and more exponential demand about these systems, because now everybody wants one of these language models running on the car, on the iPhone, on your Apple Watch, on whatever. Obviously, there's going to be this huge demand combined with all this computational cost that is associated. This is completely insane, okay? When you translate that into, you know, tons of CO2 that you are releasing into the atmosphere, you realize that most of the problem of climate change nowadays comes from high-performance computing centers running AI systems, okay? It's not the cars that are not electric. It's not the planes. It's the high-performance computing centers that are just burning and burning, you know, tons of CO2. And this is because the calculations are costing a lot of energy, to the point that, you know, nowadays the latest high-performance computing centers that I've been visiting and so on, for instance, the one in Barcelona got an upgrade very recently. They got a new supercomputer. Next to the supercomputer, there is an electric power plant just for the computer, because it's consuming so much energy that, you know, just the system of Barcelona cannot cope with that. They have to make one special for it. It's consuming as much energy as a small city, okay? Just the computer. Now, obviously, this is not sustainable. If we keep doing that, we are going to be burning the planet in a weekend, okay? And this means that, you know, this is not the way to do this, okay? So AI, current AI, is very interesting, but there is something fundamentally that is not working well there. We need a different model that is more efficient, is more friendly, okay? It's not so costly, it doesn't consume so many resources, and that also works well, okay? Now, the only solution to that is quantum computing. Quantum computing is not consuming this vast amount of energy. It's actually, you know, more than 1,000 times less energy, you know, demanding. And on top of that, apart from that, you know, it's faster, it's more accurate, and it's not going to be burning the planet on a weekend, okay? So that's reason number one of why nowadays quantum computing is becoming so relevant, because it's becoming the only alternative to cope with the demand of artificial intelligence. Now, the second reason why everybody is talking about quantum computing nowadays is what there is on the right-hand side, which is that there has been this interesting combination of things happening at the same time in history. Classical computers are collapsing, and current AI models are also collapsing. We cannot just continue like that. And at the same time, it turns out that the people building quantum processors are starting to have systems that are able to do things that are impossible to do in any other way, okay? This is what the people call quantum advantage. Quantum advantage is the moment at which a quantum computer built on a lab is able to do a calculation that is impossible to do in any other way, okay? Not even if you have all the classical computers in the world, you will be able to reproduce that. The first ones to propose that were the team from Google in 2019. They did the first claim of quantum advantage. They claimed that they were able to run a calculation that was impossible to reproduce in any other way. After the team of Google, there have been other teams also claiming quantum advantage and so on. But the important thing to realize here is that we are getting to the point at which quantum computers start to be useful, okay? It's not just that an interesting experiment that is happening. No, no, there are things that you can only do with a quantum computer. We've seen it, okay? So these two things are happening at the same time, and obviously this means that this is an inflection point. This is a point in history in which we have to change our computational model. We cannot continue with AI like we are doing. We have to switch to quantum. There is no other solution. Good. So how does a quantum computer look like? Because these machines exist nowadays. We were just chatting during lunch. I think Alfonso here just mentioned me that nowadays there are more than 5,000 quantum computers in the world, I think. This is the one by IBM, okay? It looks like a very beautiful lamp, but it's actually a refrigerator, right? This is actually a machine that is cooling the system down from top to bottom, and then the actual processor is sticked at the bottom, okay? Now, the point is that this processor is very small, but it has to be at a very, very cold temperature, okay? Actually, you know, 1,000 I think it's 0.0001 grads Celsius or something like this. So this is a really one of the coldest places in the universe, okay? So this is what we call millikelvin temperature, okay? And this object here that is so spectacular is nothing but a refrigerator, okay? It's a dilution refrigerator. This is how it's called. And it's just cooling the system down until you reach extremely low temperatures over there for the quantum system to run. You need these temperatures to be so low because quantum systems are very fragile. You don't see objects in everyday life having quantum properties, okay? To see that, you have to eliminate all the noise that you can, you have to cool them down, and so on and so forth. Nowadays, in the world except China, let's say, the most advanced quantum computer is by IBM. IBM is leading the race. They have a very solid roadmap of building quantum processors, okay, doubling the size of the processor every year. This is the one that they have nowadays. It's called Osprey, and it has around 433 qubits. A qubit is what I was calling before an atom, is the fundamental unit of information for a quantum computer. They are expected to release a new one by the end of this year, probably towards November, beginning of December, with more than 1,000 qubits. Is more than twice as powerful as this processor, but you know, we are starting to talk here about really very serious machines, okay? This is not just one quantum system that we are you know, isolating and manipulating. It's 433 of them, or even more than 1,000. This is the roadmap of IBM. You can see that every year they have been more than doubling the size of their processor. Nowadays, we are somewhere around between 433 qubits and more than 1,000. And then they have another plan to actually scale the technology up. So the nice thing about this is that IBM has really been, you know, sticking to the plan. They have been really delivering what they promised. Okay, and 5 years ago, we had very small quantum processors. And nowadays, you know, if you multiply the size by 2 every year, 2 to the power of 5 is actually quite large. Okay, so nowadays, this is growing a lot. And the perspective is that it's going to keep growing. Now, and what happens in industry? Well, obviously, we have a machine that is able to do calculations much faster, much more accurate, consuming much less energy than what any other type of machine could ever do. And it's also possible to solve problems that are impossible to solve with a standard computer, some of them as important as hacking all the cybersecurity of the world. Okay? What is the market for this? What is the impact in industry? No? Well, here are some figures from McKinsey. Okay? This is a study that they did in 2023. They redo this study every year, and the figures keep growing up every time they do the study. They estimated this year that the total market for quantum technologies worldwide is going to be around more than $100 billion. That's a lot of money. Okay? Nowadays, there are around between 300 and 400 startups worldwide doing something related to quantum technologies, okay? Some people do quantum hardware, some other people do the software, the algorithms and the methods and the programs that have to run on these quantum computers. Other people do sensors, other people do cryptography, for instance. More than 300 startups nowadays, apart from the very big companies, okay? And most of this value comes from the quantum computer itself. Once we have this machine, we are going to be able to run calculations that obviously are going to impact a lot the industry. There are other subfields, for instance, quantum communications. We are going to be able to have communications mediated by quantum systems that are going to be more secure, okay? Quantum sensors, gravitometers, for instance, to measure gravity or to measure the pressure and things like this. It's possible to build much more sensible sensors, okay, using quantum systems. And this obviously also has a very large market. This is another study from McKinsey. It was actually previous to the one that I showed before. But the interesting thing that I want to point out here is that they already did a study some years ago for one particular industry vertical, okay, which is mobility. They said an automotive industry. Around 2021, they already said that the impact for the automotive industry was going to be at least $3 billion by 2030. Actually, probably it's going to be much more than that. Applications include route optimization, material research, and much more. All right? This is a study of Gartner, okay? One of these, Gartner, is this consultancy company that they do these quadrants that are very beautiful. In the horizontal axis, there is time to market of different applications of a quantum computer. On the vertical axis, there is the impact, okay? And obviously, you can see here that there are some applications that are gonna come in a long term, okay? We still need to wait years until we have a machine powerful enough, for instance, to hack all the cybersecurity. We still cannot do it. But then the relevant question that we have here, and this is the question also that many quantum companies are asking themselves nowadays, is, okay, we have these machines, like the one from IBM that I showed you before, 400 and something qubits. We know it's not perfect. We know it doesn't have 1 million qubits, okay? It's noisy. And then the key question here is, okay, can we do something useful with this machine or not? Now, the answer turns out to be yes. We can do things that are useful already for industry with this machine, okay? There are some applications of quantum computers that are coming faster than others. And in this square, you can see them. Essentially, what you have on the top, that's everything that is related to artificial intelligence. This is obviously very relevant. We have artificial intelligence nowadays everywhere. Everywhere. There was this boom. Well, guess the good news. Any algorithm of artificial intelligence can be improved in efficiency, performance, running time, and so on with quantum computers. So this is a completely horizontal impact, okay? Everywhere you have a neural network or something like this, you can improve it with quantum computing. And what else? Optimization. Optimization, for my taste, is too low. I think it should be much higher. But there are lots of optimization problems in industry, okay? You know, finding the shortest path between here and Atocha on a rainy day in Madrid when the traffic collapses, okay? That's a very complicated optimization problem, okay? How do you minimize this, the time, no, to arrive? And so on and so forth. I mean, optimization of energy markets, finding optimal portfolios for finance, they are everywhere optimization problems, okay? Our industry is full of them, in engineering as well, designing the optimal shape of the wing of an airplane in order to maximize the thrust and so on. All those are optimization problems that are extremely hard to solve with standard computation, okay? Some of them are even intractable. We have suboptimal solutions for those, and with quantum computers, we can improve them right away. Now, let me tell you about some applications in industry, okay, of what you can do on a quantum computer in different industry verticals. And I think that this is going to be important to realize. Here is a list of some of the impact of quantum technologies. Obviously, you can use a quantum computer to design better materials, okay? This is kind of a no-brainer application. In finance, finance is full of very hard computational problems. The banks, and so on, they have their own teams of quantitative analysts. Most of them are mathematicians, physicists, computer scientists, and so on, and they are running extremely hard algorithms to do whatever calculation they have to do, okay? Predicting the stock market, computing prices of options, of derivatives, predicting risk, calculating, I don't know. There are lots of very hard computational problems in finance going on. They are consumers of computational resources, and obviously they are very interested in quantum computers. Chemistry, of course, simulation of new and design of new molecules, all right, of new materials, protein folding. Also in pharma and health, designing of new vaccines. You know, we got the COVID, the vaccine was really fast, okay, around a few months, but it could have been faster, okay, if we had had a quantum computer. That's a good example, okay? Maybe instead of waiting for 2 months, we would have had a vaccine in 1 week, okay? It was just about finding the right molecule, okay, and doing the simulation. That's a very complicated problem, again. Optimization, as I was saying, machine learning and artificial intelligence, anything where you have artificial intelligence in your life can be improved with quantum computing, okay? Communications, as I was saying, to secure the communications between different sites, you can also use quantum computing. Mobility, as I was mentioning in the automotive industry, you know, the electric vehicle, from the design of batteries, the catalyzers for hydrogen, optimization of routes, anywhere, okay? And I always say, as we were discussing today during lunch, that the most interesting application of a quantum computer has still to be discovered. You know, we know what we are going to be using a quantum computer for the problems that we have today. But who knows what are going to be the problems that we are going to find once we have the quantum computer, Okay? I mean, we really need to have the machine to understand what it is really useful for. Okay? I mean, imagine, I always give the same example. When you have a classical computer, okay, you know, you can use Twitter, you can use Facebook, you can use Instagram, and so on. And now imagine going to the 1930s, when they developed the theory of classical computing, and you know, there was Alan Turing that was building this machine, and so on. And you go to Alan Turing and you tell him that the most important application of the machine that he's building is something called Twitter, okay? That you just use it to send messages to your girlfriend and so on. Now, he's going to think that, no, I'm just building this machine because I want to hack the codes of the Nazis and all this, no? So we are in these states nowadays. We know which problems are important at this stage in history for a quantum computer, but we need to have the machine to understand what is going to be really useful for. Okay, as I was saying, in finance, there are many banks internationally that already have their own quantum teams. Okay, we have been working with BBVA, we have been working with CaixaBank, Crédit Agricole, Corporate and Investment Banking in France, okay, the Bank of Canada, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan. All these people have people already working on quantum computing in their teams. They are identifying important use cases, and they are already testing the technology. And in some cases, they are even putting it in production. Okay, as is the case of Crédit Agricole, for instance. They have some solutions already that they are putting them already into the production line. What can you do in finance? Well, you can do lots of things. You can do portfolio optimization, you can do anti-money laundering, fraud detection, and so on and so forth. Okay. Chemistry. Well, simulation of molecules. Molecules are everywhere. You can use molecules for building vaccines, but also for building screens, for building, I don't know, paints, whatever, right? Turns out that the design of very large organical molecules is extremely complicated. They are very hard to simulate, and for that, you obviously need a quantum computer. To design new materials, to design new vaccines, to understand how the proteins are folding in order to build new medicaments, and so on. This is a whole new world, okay, that we are discovering here, and really you need a quantum computer to do that. It's gonna, there is actually, I didn't include it in this talk, but there is a study from McKinsey, from very recently, actually, I think it's a couple of months or so, of the impact of quantum computing in the health industry. And the impact is amazing. It's as much larger than the one in the automotive industry, actually, okay? Mobility, as I was saying before, there are many car manufacturers that are already partnering with quantum computing providers. Mercedes, Volkswagen, Ford, Toyota, BMW, you can see here, actually even more. All of them, they are running pilot projects, and in some cases, they are even incorporating the technology also in production, okay? And here, the range of use cases is really wide, okay? You can really design new battery cells for electric cars, new AI systems for autonomous driving, route optimization, design of the parts of the car, and so on and so forth. So actually, some of the first real use cases in industry, they came from the mobility industry, actually. Volkswagen was one of the pioneers, okay? They partnered with D-Wave, which is a quantum hardware company, to do some, proofs of concept on actually route optimization. Now, McKinsey has also realized that quantum computing is also enhancing all the steps across the value chain of the mobility industry, okay? From the guy that is building, the pieces that is gonna make your car, okay? To the actual service provider, to whoever is selling you the car, to whoever is building an app to, catch an Uber or a taxi from your phone, and so on and so forth. All this you can improve with quantum. A couple of examples, Mercedes and Daimler, they actually did some calculations with IBM to design new batteries, okay, for electric cars. That was also in the news. The one that was also in the news was the one by Volkswagen. They did a couple of pilot projects, one in Barcelona, where they actually optimized the routes and the demand of taxis depending on the geopositioning of cell phones from Vodafone, okay? So they, using the geopositioning of the cell phone, they were able to understand at which places in Barcelona there are gonna be more people, okay? And then they send more taxis to those locations, okay? They did all these calculations with quantum computers in real time, and then they also did another use case in Beijing to optimize the routes of the taxis from downtown Beijing to the airport. Obviously, if you send all the taxis through the shortest path, they are going to collapse because you are going to find all the taxis there, no? So you have to distribute the taxis through different routes, Okay, when you switch on your GPS in your car and you say, what is the shortest path from going from here to here? From time to time, it recomputes the route, and it tells you, hey, I have found a route that is actually faster. Do you want to change or not? This is exactly it. You cannot send all the people through the same path, because then there's going to be a traffic jam. This was done in real time, okay? And actually, Volkswagen is implementing this in production as well in some of the new cars. This is how they did the proof in Barcelona. Essentially, you know, cabs in location A, they connected to the actual mobile phones, and from there they were able to predict which regions actually were in more demand of cars. BMW, they have their own quantum team, and they are so serious about this that they even released a challenge, okay, with different computational problems that they wanted to solve using quantum computers. The computational problems, they really, you know, they were really about many different things, from chemistry to design of the cars, to positioning, to option configuration, machine learning, quality, material deformation, and so on. So you can see really all the processes in industry, okay, they really wanted quantum methods to improve the bottlenecks that they had in their pipeline. And well, I'm saying here BMW, but also Airbus, for instance, they had also a very nice quantum computing challenge where they had, I think, like 10 computational problems that they really were struggling to solve, okay? And people were proposing very original solutions using quantum computers. Well, last but not least, cybersecurity. As I told you at the beginning, once we have a sufficiently large quantum computer, we are going to be able to break all the cybersecurity of the world. So this is going to have a tremendous impact, okay? So what can you use? How can you use a quantum computer to actually do something good for cybersecurity? Well, you can improve machine learning algorithms for threat detection, for phishing, for detecting a scam, for intrusion detection systems, okay? For, I think nowadays they call it adversary-generated, automated, generated intelligence, okay? These are these systems where you let the hacker actually get inside of you know, of your system, but it's a fake system, and you understand how it works and so on. You can also simulate this with a quantum computer, okay, and actually improve cybersecurity. This is a very hot topic nowadays. What else you can do? Well, you can change all the cryptography protocols. Obviously, if the cryptographic protocols that we are using eventually are going to be hacked, we need to change them already. We cannot use them anymore, because as soon as somebody has a quantum computer, they are going to be able to read my emails, and I don't want that, okay? Now, there is a whole field of technology that is called post-quantum cryptography, which is about changing the cryptographic protocols that we are using every day to protocols that cannot be hacked by a quantum computer. This is a whole field of research on itself, okay? But there are companies already doing this. There are some proposals that have been put forward by the National Institute for Standards and Technology in the US, and people are changing toward these new types of cryptography, okay? And obviously there is another solution, which is something called quantum cryptography. I will not talk about that here, but this is another way of doing cryptography directly with quantum systems. And the nice thing about this is that it's really secure. You cannot hack it, okay? This quantum cryptography story, we have companies here in Spain that are actually working on that, also deploying them on satellites and so on. Logistics as well. Obviously, all the logistics of a seaport, of the logistics of an airplane, all the logistics of airports, optimizing traffics of ships, of airplanes. This is a huge problem. We actually have a project with the port of Bilbao. They have this huge computational problem on how to understand the scheduling when loading and unloading a ship when it arrives to the port. Okay, it turns out that how much time you need the crane, and then they have to move and so on. This is crazy once you see it, right? And it turns out that the solution that they have is actually suboptimal, okay? And this is something that you can actually improve with quantum computers, but more than that, all about the energy consumption on seaports, on airports, and so on and so forth. Very good. Well, there is a never-ending number of use cases where you can use quantum computers in industry, okay? As I was saying, the easiest way to understand where you can use quantum technologies in your business is to realize, okay, where do I have the computational bottlenecks, okay? That should be improved, thing number one. Thing number two, which is actually easier, is where am I applying artificial intelligence? Well, maybe for predictive maintenance, maybe for predicting something, okay? anywhere where you're applying artificial intelligence nowadays can be improved and be made more efficient using quantum computers. And it's actually the only way, because as I told you at the beginning, otherwise we are hitting a wall of energy consumption and we cannot go through that. Okay? Great. Next question. What do we have in Spain? Do we have a quantum computer? Well, the answer is yes. We're actually going to have 4 quantum computers in Spain. Okay, 4. One in the Basque Country, in San Sebastian, they are buying an IBM machine, what is called the IBM Quantum System 1. So IBM has 6 quantum centers in the whole world away from the US. Okay, there is one in Japan. In Europe, there is only one, in Germany, and so on. Overall, there are 6. They are going to put one more in San Sebastian. Okay, they are landing there. There is a huge investment of the Basque government, and they're going to put a quantum computer, okay, with 127 qubits there for using, for the community and also for the industry over there. Okay, that's going to be deployed by the end of 2024. Now, the one that already arrived is the one in Galicia. In Galicia, there is already a quantum computer, okay, from Fujitsu. It has 30 qubits. It's smaller than the one that we have in San Sebastian, but it's already, you can actually do interesting things with that. It's in the CESGA, that's the Supercomputing Center of Galicia. And then in Barcelona, they are gonna bring 2 quantum computers, actually. There is one that is gonna be built, is 5 qubits upgraded to 30, I think, that is gonna come probably by the end of this year. Coming from an initiative that is called Quantum Spain, and there is another one that is coming from funding from the European Union for supercomputing centers. They are buying another one. So in Barcelona, they will have 2. Okay? So, there is this interesting thing going on here that we are actually struggling to build our own quantum processor, but we are buying 4. Okay? So we are going to be one of the regions in the world, and definitely in Europe, with more density of quantum computers available. Okay? What else do we have in Spain? Well, we have industrial projects, okay? Very large consortia between many, many industries. The CUCO consortia, for instance, this is funded by the ministry. It's one of these Misiones projects, okay, where there are many, many companies there. Repsol is there, BBVA, Multiverse, we are also there, GMB, and many others. And this was the first industrial project of to explore quantum computing in Spain. Okay, we're actually exploring many different use cases across a variety of industries, in energy, in finance, in logistics, in manufacturing, and so on, through this project. Okay. Also, Caramuel is another Misiones project, but it's not about quantum computing, but about quantum communications. This is led by Hispasat. Okay, they are putting satellites on orbit to create a network for quantum communications. Okay, and there are also many Spanish companies involved in that. And there is an initiative from the government, which is called Quantum Spain, okay, that is trying to foster the creation of a quantum processor here in Spain, and second also, what is the community of people working on quantum computing. Okay, so there is a part that goes to hardware, there is another part that goes to software. In software, we have Multiverse. Okay, Multiverse Computing is the largest quantum software company in Europe, and the second largest in the world. Okay, it's competing actually with Sandbox AQ, which is a spin-off of Google in the US. Okay, Multiverse, I'm, as Gonzalo was saying at the beginning, I'm one of the co-founders. It's headquarters in San Sebastian, but we also have a very large office in Toronto, and then also Paris, Munich. We are opening now in the UK and also in Milan. We are around 90 people nowadays. Okay, we are working in more than 10 industry verticals with lots of clients on real use cases, and we have products, okay? And we are obsessed with making quantum computing easy, okay? This is something that I think it's important. I want to stress it here because it's particularly important when you want to approach the people in industry about quantum computing. Obviously, they are not quantum experts, okay? You cannot expect that somebody working at a bank or working even from the innovation department or let's say from the business line and so on, you cannot expect that they are going to be able to understand what the hell is a quantum computer, how can you program it, okay? So you have to do it easy for them. At Multiverse, we are obsessed with that. We are obsessed with actually really getting very close to the final user, and this is why I included here a video of what is the type of applications that we are developing and which many other people are now
Multiverse
starting to
computing
implement as well,
singularity
because this
makes
is really
quantum
the
computing
trend of
really
the
easy
direction
for the
of how things go.
inexperienced user.
You don't,
Singularity
as an end
allows you to
user,
unleash the
you
power
don't
of quantum
use a
computing
quantum computer
directly
in
with
the
a
end.
click,
What you
and
use is,
assuming
I don't
no
know, an
previous
Excel
quantum
spreadsheet.
knowledge
Okay,
at
imagine
all. For this,
this is
the team at
that you are
Multiverse
somebody
have
working at a
connected
bank and you want to do an
quantum
optimization
computers,
of a
working on the
portfolio
cloud
of
as a
investments.
backend
Okay,
to
that's
really
exactly the
simple
example that
and
we are seeing
intuitive
here.
front ends.
Now,
Our
when
vision
you are there
is
at the
to
bank, you
implement
have your
quantum
Excel,
computing
you download the
directly
data from
via
Bloomberg,
these tools,
okay,
so that it can become
and
a
you have
part
some
of the
algorithm
production
defined
line of
behind the
any
Excel,
financial
and you don't really know how the algorithm works. You just load the data, click some button, and get some projections, and that's what that's what you write in the end, and that's what you pass on to the boss, and that's what the banks are selling you when they sell you, an investment fund, okay, or something like this. We actually implemented this, but with quantum computers, okay? So we built a whole suite that is actually a plugin that you install in Excel, okay? And suddenly you have, a quantum optimization algorithm running for you from the Excel with all the details that somebody from the bank will need. For them, it's as easy as downloading the data, as you can see there, picking up the, the assets that they want to optimize, and so on, clicking Start Optimization, and then, the algorithm just runs on the cloud, okay? It connects to the quantum computer that may be sitting in the US, okay? It goes there, makes the calculation in this magic system that you really don't know how it works, but somehow it's computing super fast, super efficiently, and super accurately, and then you get the results back, and it displays on your Excel, okay? And that's it. Now, the good news is that by doing this, we can actually improve the performance of portfolio optimization by a large factor. We did this proof of concept with different banks. We did it with Bankia, we did it with BBVA, and it really works. And Bankia, Bankia before it was acquired by CaixaBank, now it's CaixaBank, but they are actually, all these people, they are thinking about implementing that already in the production line, okay? This is the future, in my opinion. I think that that's the only way to make quantum computers useful for industry. We, as a physicist, that's also our responsibility. We need to understand how to make the transition and make this technology easy for people like you guys, okay? That's exactly what we are trying to do from Multiverse. And also, I think that as a final message before I stop talking, I think it's important that you realize that this is not a technology that is going to come. It's not a tsunami coming, okay? The technology is already here. If you think that, this is an interesting technology, but I'm going to wait a couple of years until I start exploring this, probably you are going to be too late. Maybe I think that you are already too late if you didn't start already thinking about this, okay? Because there are people already doing this, and it's as simple as the fact that the companies that don't jump into this technology, in the end, they will either disappear or become irrelevant, because this is a changing technology, okay? This is like AI. And if you are not into this, and if you are not early enough, you are not going to be able to keep up with the trend, and they are going to eat you, your competitors, okay? And quantum is something that you need some time to actually digest it. It's something that you cannot learn over a weekend, okay? It's a new computational model. You need people that are trained specifically on this. The talent is very scarce. There are very few people that know really about this, and this takes time, okay? So the sooner to start, the better. You can just not keep waiting, okay? You have to implement this right away, because otherwise you may be risking of losing the trend. And with this, I think I will finish already, and thanks a lot for your attention.
So thank you very much, Román. It has been very clear, and we have to rush for quantum computing.
Yes.
We would like to have a conversation with you with some questions, and also for all of you to put your questions as well, if you wish. People online can send us an email to our email. The alumni is spain@alumni.imd.org. The first question I would like to ask you, Román, is to deep a bit on the relationship between AI and quantum computing. It's really two separate fields. Is quantum computing going to eat artificial intelligence? what is the future of neural networks? What do you think about this?
Yeah. So yeah, that's actually a good question. So first, let me clarify something that just in case this was misunderstood. Having a quantum computer is gonna have a lot of impact, and you are gonna be using quantum technology essentially everywhere. Oh, okay. Hello. Okay, better. That's better. But this doesn't mean that traditional classical computers will disappear. I mean, if I have to make the Excel spreadsheet for my own finances, I can still use my Mac, okay? I don't need a quantum computer for doing that. Now, we are going to be using quantum computers for those computational tasks that are very hard to solve. Now, when it comes to AI, you know, it's not that the AI methods that run on a quantum computer, they are not like the ones that run on a traditional computer. So a neural network is something that is based on classical computers, okay? It's a model of an algorithm that we can run, and we can run it, I don't know, we can run it here, okay, on the iPhone. The same algorithm cannot run on a quantum computer. It has to be different, okay? So quantum computers, they have their own algorithms, and luckily there is an analogy of neural networks, but for a quantum computer. It's called a quantum neural network, and those are the systems that you can actually use on a quantum computer, okay? Now, whether this is gonna eat traditional AI or not, I think in the long term, there's gonna be something going on because this quantum AI is much more energetically friendly, as I was saying before. So for traditional AI, as long as your system does not consume too much energy, is fine. But if you want really something that works very well, such as ChatGPT, you need something else. There is no, you cannot be multiplying by 2 the energy cost every few years. Yeah.
Roman, but all the advances in quantum computing are also driving ways to run the AI models in a more energy efficient way.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Could you explain a bit about that?
Yes, so you know, a quantum computer by construction is consuming much less energy than a traditional computer, okay? Not just that, but the fact is that, you know, traditional AI also, nowadays it works like a black box. We really don't know what is, when you throw information into an AI system and then it gives you answers, it works like a black box. We know more or less what is the structure of what is inside, but we don't know what is going on. Okay, this is the problem of traceability of the information. This is why in many places, such as banks and so on, they don't allow neural networks because they can, if you have to explain to your boss why the system is taking a decision, you cannot explain it to your boss. I don't know, because this thing just told me, okay? Obviously, you are going to be fired, okay? So this is the problem of traceability of information. You need to be able to understand what is really happening inside of that black box, okay? This, with neural networks, you cannot do it. We don't understand them. We don't know really what is happening with the information there. But with a quantum computer, we can do it, okay? We have the mathematical tools to actually trace what is, how is the information is building, what is really going on. So in this sense, it's much more useful because not just because it's more efficient and more accurate and so on, because also we can really understand what is happening, okay?
Okay. All of this, can you make a guess of what impact the quantum computing might make in the chip industry, in the actual chip industry?
The actual chip industry. That's a good one. Well, obviously, the problem with the chip industry is that it's nowadays is that we have an increasing demand of chips, and there are very few factories in the world that can actually fabricate these chips, okay? Because we are really going to the point where actually we are miniaturizing them so much, and this is also interesting in connection to this talk, that we start to see what the people call the quantum noise, okay? At the level of an atom, okay? Or if there is a ray of light that passes over there, the chip for a classical computer, it's already feeling that, okay? So obviously you have this exponential demand. Once quantum computers are in place, well, it turns out that we don't need that technology to build quantum computers. We need a different type of quantum technology, okay? Quantum computers, they are not built in the same way as traditional computers. They have other types of chips. And as of today, they are still not so demanding as the ones from a traditional computer, okay? So I may expect that at least this increasing demand of chips for HPC computing and so on should go down, and then the demand for quantum chips should go up, which are actually easier to fabricate, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Thanks again, Román. Very interesting exposition. My question goes on the direction of geopolitics. We saw a couple of slides that you presented in the very beginning, who were the main actors, regionally speaking, in the development of this kind of technology, and it's very similar. It's very akin to the technology that has to do with microprocessors and artificial intelligence overall. And we know that there is a race to dominate the technology and for the materials that are actually going to make possible the implementation of artificial intelligence. And do you think that in the quantum computing industry we will going to start feeling the same sort of problems and tensions across the states, not fighting, but concurring for certain materials like we do with rare earths or in terms of energy or materials for semiconductors or patent pending knowledge, information, patents, like we do in the rest of the industries? Is it already happening? You also gave us during the lunch a feeling that in China, in this moment, works like a black box and nobody really knows at what stage are they. Can you just elaborate a little bit on it?
Yeah. So regarding the race for materials and so on, I think that's an interesting question. So it really depends on the hardware. Okay, so classical computers like these ones, they are all built in the same way. Okay, they are silicon chips. Okay, and therefore they need rare earth materials, and we know that we need this, and there is an exponential demand, and therefore there is a lot of tension with this. A quantum computer, on the other hand, you have to think that quantum computers nowadays, they are like classical computers in the 1930s. Okay, they are as big as a whole lab. Okay. We still don't know really how to build a quantum computer. There are different proposals out there, okay? In terms of hardware, there are, for instance, IBM is using superconducting qubits. This is the processor that I show you, but there are other people that they are building quantum computers with a different proposal for hardware, okay? There are things such as trapped ions, neutral atoms, and so on. So nowadays, it's still not clear which type of hardware is gonna stay in the long term, okay? Which is gonna be the one that makes the technology scalable. Scalable in the sense that I don't want 100 qubits, I want 100 million qubits, okay? How do we do that, no? So, as of today, there is no problem in terms of the materials that you actually need to build a quantum computer, but I may expect that once one of these technologies start escalating, it's going to happen as with normal computers, that obviously everybody is going to be using this, there is going to be an exponential demand, and then we'll see, yeah, and then we'll see.
Any question, please? Just 1 second.
Okay, thanks for the talk. I have some questions. One of my main concerns related to quantum computing is that you actually need near 7 Kelvin to keep it working because you need the electrons to start moving slowly and all these things. Do you think the same way as we have right now personal computers, maybe in the future we can have personal quantum computing? And if that's the situation, how it's going to be? And if not, for example, we may work the same way as we do right now with Qiskit, like on a cloud environment. And yeah, that's my main concern.
That's a good point. I mean, nowadays the model of quantum computation is on the cloud. It's like if you want to run something on the servers of Microsoft or on the servers of Amazon, okay? You buy time from Microsoft and you throw your program on the cloud, okay? And then it's running on wherever they have the server and you get the result back, okay? The model that is emerging now with quantum computers is cloud computing also. Well, cloud quantum computing, actually. The computers are sitting wherever, okay? In the US, here in Spain, in France, wherever. And you are just sitting on your sofa and you are programming with your laptop and you run the simulations at a distance, okay? Through internet. That's going to stay. And because it's actually something that is already working and is working very well, but it's true that there are some institutions that they want to have their own quantum computer. And I think that is going to happen as in traditional computing. I mean, in the early 1930s, they didn't have internet, okay? So they couldn't do this story of the cloud. And then somebody had this brilliant idea of actually building personal computers. Now, if you want to build a personal quantum computer, obviously it's going to be hard because you need a dilution refrigerator like this one at least. You need millikelvin temperatures and so on. But there are other models of quantum computing that actually work at room temperature. Okay, for instance, photonic systems based on lasers. Okay, they have other problems, but they can work at room temperature. Okay, and there are companies already that there are some Chinese companies that they are selling you desktop quantum computers based on another technology that is called NMR. Okay, which works also at room temperature. So for a very small system and so on, but still, So whether we will end up having personal quantum computers or not, I really don't know, but for some applications, probably we'll need them. On the other hand, having said this, we really need quantum computers for those computational tasks that are very hard, not for just everyday life, okay? For everyday life, a normal computer is already sufficient, but maybe if I want to do a calculation that is extremely hard, instead of running it here on my iPhone, then I send it to wherever server on the cloud and then get it back. Okay, that's a model that could stay. It's true that there are applications that cannot run on the cloud. If you go to the military, for instance, defense, they cannot trust the cloud. Okay, if you are building a spaceship like Elon Musk, when you are going to Mars, you are going to lose connection. Okay, and these type of things. No, if you are on a satellite, you need everything to be deployed on premises. So for these applications, we still need to see what is going to happen. Yeah.
But another thing that comes to my mind, for example, is that if everything is cloud-based, as you're suggesting, and for me it's like the more standardized way, and in the future I think it's like the way to work, what's going to happen with cybersecurity? Because in this situation, you will have your classical computer connecting to a quantum computer and sending data using, for example, RSA, and that's vulnerable. So
it needs to be ciphered. So that's why you need cryptography. Cryptography needs to be. There's going to be a boost of cybersecurity as well. But having said this, don't take me wrong. I'm not saying that in the future everything is going to be on the cloud. I actually think that it would be better if we didn't have the cloud. If I could run ChatGPT on my smartwatch, that would be fantastic. But I cannot do it because it's too heavy. Okay. There are these type of problems that for which we need the cloud, okay? But then this is a different type of problem. How can you do these language models such as ChatGPT more efficient so that they can run on premises, okay? I think it would be much better if everything could run on premises than on the cloud, to be honest, because then you forget about the cybersecurity problem. But we'll see what happens, yeah.
Hi, thanks for the fantastic talk. My name is Jacobo Elosua. I know a little bit about AI, not quantum computing. So I'm going to go back to what Fernando was asking you at the beginning in terms of the relationship between the two technologies, as you see it. With some forecast placing the achievement of AGI not that long from today, like, decade and a half, maybe 2 decades, don't you think that there's a chance that AI will end up solving quantum computing's challenges?
No, I don't think so. There are challenges for which we know that a classical computer cannot do anything, okay, by theorem. So searching on a database, for instance, there are foundational limits on how fast a classical computer can do that. And there are also theorems from, theoretical computer science that tell you that a quantum computer can do that faster, okay? And there are also other problems for which it's proven actually mathematically that with a quantum computer you're going to do exponentially fast than with a classical one. Now for AI is different, okay? But AI, the problem that it has is the energy consumption. I mean, we are doing it wrong, okay? Nature doesn't do it like this. I mean, we are doing it because somebody tried and it works, but it's not the way nature is doing it. I mean, if you see a fly flying, it's not consuming the energy of a nuclear plant, okay? It's just flying, okay? So I think we still need to learn exactly what is going on here about these systems, okay? And then move forward. And I think that one of the ways is through quantum, yeah.
Another question over there.
Hi. Thank you, Román, for your presentation. I'm Alberto from Deloitte. Fernando, you might recall me from our innovation office. My question is about the technologies that you mentioned, well, the trap ion, all that kind of technologies like IBMs, but also in your slides, I could see the waves, quantum annealing technologies. My question is, if you have the feeling, because I have some insight in quantum in Deloitte, but it's not my full day activity. But my impression is that the waves technology is more industry ready than the rest of the quantum technologies. But first question is if you agree with that, because it's more industry for optimization problems.
Yeah.
But also, if you see the quantum annealing technology converging with other quantums, or they will have separate lives and for different types of problems. Thank you.
So yeah, I think quantum annealing, so D-Wave is this quantum computing company that is building a particular type of computer that only solves optimization problems. And this is this quantum annealing technology. I think it's closer to industry as of today. You know, D-Wave was the first company to actually commercialize a quantum computer. So they started with Advantage. When nobody was believing in this, they started selling quantum computers, okay? And it's true that they are closer to industry, and the type of computer that they have, you know, it actually has many practical applications, okay? Having said this, we use D-Wave a lot in multiverse. We use it a lot, but it also has problems, okay? It's not really clear how quantum is the calculation that is going on there, okay? And somehow, you know, it's not completely generic as the other quantum computation models. So for instance, what IBM is building, or Google, or these other companies, is what we call a universal quantum computer. So a universal quantum computer is a machine where you can run anything, okay? What D-Wave is building is not universal. It's just for a particular type of problem. Then it's useful, well, yes, it's closer to industry, but it's very limited, okay? So until some years ago, okay, universal quantum computers were not that much developed, and D-Wave was leading the race. But nowadays, you've seen the numbers from IBM, they are catching up, and actually, as of today, they are as powerful as D-Wave, okay, or even more in some cases. So I think that they are gonna follow different trends, okay? Quantum annealing is gonna go in one direction. Universal quantum computers are gonna ramp up, okay? And I think the industry and the community is gonna go through universal. And annealing is going to be left behind. That's my feeling, yeah.
Any other question on?
Well, hello, good evening. Thank you for your talk. It was really interesting. I would like to know if, because I've seen that multiverse computing works with different providers and doesn't stitch to one. So I don't know if it just, do you prefer to focus on optimization and QA, OA, and quantum annealing problems or so, or if you are exploring some other algorithms like BB84 or something like about quantum cryptography or quantum communications, or, because I think that software could be useful too.
So yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, we work with different hardware providers, but there are two good reasons for this. You know, we have partnerships with everybody who has a quantum processor, okay? And as I told you before, there are different ways of building a quantum processor, okay? Now, obviously, we have to partner with all of them because these are different technologies, and we don't know which one is going to win. Okay, maybe in 2 years there is one technology that ramps up and there is another one that dies. So this is a risk that we cannot take. Okay, we have to partner with everybody. That's reason number one. Reason number two is that we have realized from experience that different problems actually are better solved in one platform or another, because the platforms are somehow, they are different also in how they work. Okay. And therefore, there are problems that adapt better to, let's say, a trapped ion or to IBM or a quantum annealer and so on. So we need to keep agnostic, okay? And concerning the type of solutions that we run, well, you know, we are open to everything, okay? And we are always open to whatever the client wants to do. But we have seen that the applications that are closer to the market nowadays, they are the ones that have to do with machine learning, okay? AI, that's one. And with optimization, okay? For these two specific types of problems, we can, for real use cases with real data, dirty numbers, and so on, we can really get some advantage for businesses with quantum computers as they are today, okay? We don't need to wait until the next generation of quantum computers. This is the reason why we are focusing on optimization and machine learning. There are clients that also want to test other types of algorithms and methods. I don't know, for stochastic systems, for whatever. Well, yes, we can also do that, but we leave very clear that you know, with the machines that we have nowadays, we are not going to find any advantage, okay? Maybe we'll find it in 10 years, or sooner, in 5, but if they want to explore that, we can do that, okay? We can also do it. And related to BB84 and so on, yes, we are actually entering now into a couple of projects related to quantum cryptography, yeah.
Excellent. Another question?
I think it was my second question. Maybe someone else wants to. This is about post-quantum cryptography. I'm wondering if at Multiverse you are just focusing on the optimization and machine learning type of.
Yeah.
Because there's like 2 clear branches, like Sandbox IQ have those 2. Multiverse is the same. You have something. Some service or anything on post-quantum cryptography?
We are starting. Driven by the market. We didn't start with, at the beginning we just did quantum computing for finance. Then, you know, we started doing quantum computing for anything, okay? Because we started having people from energy, from logistics actually asking, and then we started expanding. And nowadays we are starting projects on post-quantum cryptography, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we are getting this demand as well.
Okay, thank you.
Roman, just the last question for you. I would like to get back to what you mentioned at the beginning. It was about quantum computing and geopolitics.
Yeah.
So, do you think that any of the computing powers in the world is going to have a massive advantage on this? And related to that is this an area for collaboration or just for competition?
That's a good question, because this is somehow how it all started. As I said in my talk, this is compared to the Manhattan Project, okay? But obviously this is a technology that is strategical, it's critical, okay? And it's gonna have to be regulated and so on, in the same way that we had to regulate atomic energy, no? So, thinking about the different regions, obviously in Europe and the US, we know what is going on, okay? Nowadays, in this region of the world, the best quantum computer is by IBM, is in the US, and then there is China. Okay, China is a black box. We don't know what is really going on there, but we know that they are investing more than 10 times the rest of the world together. Okay, they are building cities that are directly research centers for quantum technologies. They are doing incredible things, and the things that come out are really very impressive. Okay, we know that at least they are as advanced as the Americans and the Europeans. At least it could be. It could be that they are even more advanced. We don't know. Okay, now they are not. If they are more advanced, they are not very much advanced, I would say. Okay, we know the fundamental limitations of what is going on and so on. But we don't know. At least they are as advanced as the Americans. So yeah, I mean, this is a race. As my friend Alfonso here likes to put it, we are at war, okay? And the first region that gets a quantum computer is gonna win this war, okay? And the war is between China and the rest of the world, essentially. So they are working very hard to be able to be the first ones to have a quantum computer, to hack all the cybersecurity, and obviously, the rest of the world also needs to accelerate with that. I mean, China, just for you to know, they are storing all the traffic that is moving through the internet because they understand that it's all ciphered. They cannot hack it nowadays, but they know that maybe in 20 years they will be able to read it, okay? Because they will have more computational power. And there may be things that in 20 years, perhaps you still don't want people to know, no? So just in case, they are just storing all the information, and eventually they'll see what they do, no? So this is a bit sensible, and we are at a period of time that I think is going to be interesting things happening, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Román, for
your
talk and this wonderful conversation, for all your work. We wish you a great success with Multiverse and also with the research you are doing, because you are a researcher as well. And the last thing I would like again to thank to Fundación Rafael del Pino for allowing us this space and all the support, also for their network for these events. Thank you very much to all of you, and see you in the next conversation.
Thank you.